Most AAA modern day, ooh, he said modern day, you know this is gonna be bad. Gaming companies are an absolute disaster. Let's be real. They hate us, they mock us, and they openly are trying to demean us and shame us into submission. The good part is, how's that shaming part working out for you? Oh, not that great, huh? Well, what can I say? You reap what you sow. But all of this honestly would be completely fine. But the brutal reality is, at the end of the day, these companies have committed the ultimate sin in the form that their games are just boring and bad. Listen, I literally could not care about a little bit of one-sided enforcement of labor in the Congo, if you know what I'm saying. As long as I get a little bit of a good game. Most people would not care at the end of the day. But no, we're not getting that. We're getting virtue signaling, wokeness, and all of these things. And most of these companies have already collapsed. I mean, literally, Ubisoft is on the brink of bankruptcy. EA is getting bought out. Bungie has gotten bought out. Blizzard has gotten bought out. The gaming reckoning has actually happened already, and most people have missed it. But most companies that were previously a big deal have now been completely replaced and obliterated. And there's this one interesting thing. There's not a lot of AAA companies nowadays left that were a big deal in the olden times. But Capcom is one of them. And I predicted this half a year ago that soon it's gonna start looking pretty bad for Capcom, because until this point, Capcom has been delivering more earnings, more sales, more everything. My boys, listen, they have been slaying it. But then they released Monster Hunter Wilds, an unfinished, unpolished cash grab. And now, well, now we're just gonna have to see what happens with Capcom.
Capcom has faced some major problems with Monster Hunter Wilds. Sure, when it initially released, it sold like crazy, but now sales have fallen off of a cliff. The review scores for this title are still really bad, and now we're finding out that it has gotten beat by basically every other game that they've launched recently. I have a few different things to show.
That is real bad, because Capcom actually shows their sales flat out right. They're not hiding it, and it is insane.
Off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, over the past couple of years, Capcom has put out a lot of games, and basically all of those titles are now beating Monster Hunter Wilds, even though Wilds released this year, which is crazy to think about because this was supposed to be a really big game, and yeah, initially it did sell like 10 million copies, which was crazy. But at the same time, when your sales fall off a cliff this fast, it just goes to show that you did either reach your initial audience.
We are in a different era now. Sales happen in literally the first month, and after that, it's right there off a cliff. Now, don't get me wrong. Previously, sales extremely diminished over the next coming months, but they kind of are still there. But now, more games are coming out, more stuff's coming out, everything is semi-live servicey, and everything's getting an update all the time. So if you don't, if your sales are not good initially, it's really hard to get people back in.
And basically nobody else is particularly interested, or a lot of people that might have purchased it decided, you know what, I'm just going to wait for the price to get lower and lower. And Monster Hunter Wilds did initially face a hell of a lot of backlash because not only did they kind of normie-ify this game, it definitely didn't feel as, I'm just going to say, hardcore as the other Monster Hunter games. It seemed like they were trying to draw in a normie audience or a casual gamer audience, which didn't sit well with a lot of big fans. But you also had a lot of
I think it's honestly one of the most insane things when a company is like, right, we had this game that's pretty hard, pretty hardcore, and it sold a lot. Now, how about we throw all of that out and now make some kind of normie friendship is magic type of game, and still try to market to the hardcore audience. Yes, yes. Let's see how that goes. It's insane that actually games try this. This is like, imagine the next Dark Souls game would be the easiest thing ever and just automatically allowed you to win everything. People would be pissed.
Technical problems with this title. There were bugs, there were glitches, it didn't run very well. The
True.
performance was absolutely abysmal, and it's just sad that this game did have a lot of potential, but now I'm certain that they probably won't end up updating it very much. They probably won't go through several waves of content launch.
They're probably gonna do it. They're probably gonna update it because they're not throwing this out. Monster Hunter Wilds is supposed to be multiplayer for first and foremost and whatnot. So there's a lot of money that they're otherwise not getting, and this is gonna, well, they're gonna continue updating it. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here.
Just because, yes, the player counts have fallen off, the interest really has fallen off, and it's just so sad because this is what happens when you.
The last time I checked this, Monster Hunter Wilds actually had lost 99% of its player base, which is hilarious, okay? Not more hilarious than the people who are like, oh, lost 99%. Well, actually, it has 2% of its play. There's a reason no one likes you.
Release a game in a really bad state, a title that had potential to be really good and be around for a long time now has no interest. And it's funny to see that basically all of their recent games that have launched over the past couple of years have been beating it. So, this article says Monster Hunter Wilds launched at the end of February. Between anticipation for the new installation and very strong review scores, Wilds performed incredibly well out of the gate, selling 10 million copies in its first month. Fast forward another 7 months, and the performance issues surrounding Wilds have resulted in the newest Monster Hunter failing to add to that impressive launch number in a significant way. So, Capcom has published its first quarterly numbers, which cover sales between the beginning of July 2025 through the end of September 2025. As a part of its report, the studio has updated the lifetime sales of some of its biggest.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna share the screen. This is the chart for Monster Hunter Wilds, okay? It is a wild one, okay? Look at this. Look at this bad boy. 45%. Oof, that is pain. And look at this. 1.4k peak players. By the way, this and the fact that it sold 10 million copies exactly goes in turn with my estimations, 10 out of 10. And now it has a measly. What is this? What actually even is this? What this graph? Wait, who the hell is this? Literally just Americans playing it? UTC, one UTC. In America, that would be night, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but so only a specific region of the world is playing this because this is a way too specific time. I wonder who is doing that. But in any case, man, it is a disaster. Look at this. Well, actually, it's well, you know, technically, technically, this is 3%. Yes, technically this is 3.1% roughly of the player base still being retained, but I mean, a disaster is a disaster. Oh, wait, actually, no, the last time we talked about this was here. Roughly here, which is insane. Again, you can see that they're. I don't even know what happened here. You can see that they're trying. Monster Hunter Wilds is not gonna be thrown out into the dumpster. They're gonna continue trying to improve it and save it. I can guarantee you that. Where's my poly? I'm YouTube not promoting anything. Didn't even finish the sentence.
Newer titles that includes Wilds, which as of September 30th has sold 10.745 million copies. 10 million copies sold is something almost any developer would snatch your hand off for, Capcom included. It's when Wilds hit 10 million and what has happened since that paints a damning picture of how the latest Monster Hunter has been handled. Since it sold 10 million copies in its first month, that means fewer than 750,000 copies have been sold in in the 7 months since. While Capcom wouldn't have been expecting Wilds to continue selling at a rate of 10 million copies per month, it certainly wouldn't have expected sales to fall off of a cliff quite as steeply
True.
as it has done, which is not really shocking given how many problems this game actually had at release. And then several months after launch, they tried to do this really big update fixing it, but yet they broke like 10 other things with the game. So really, they
Yeah, when the fix thing happened, people were pissed because it didn't even fix the things that people were having the biggest issues, and it broke additional things. Capcom literally tore a page out of Bethesda's book and said we can do worse, which is impressive considering Bethesda hasn't done anything right for the past decade and a half.
defeated the purpose of that big update, which sucks to see because I want Monster Hunter to do really good. I want people to be able to enjoy their $70 purchase, but when a company like Capcom releases something in a really terrible state, they don't update the game very quickly. Honestly, they deserve all that's coming to them. And this right here is the big problem that they now face. Even the
Oh, come on, Mommy Vera, I just showed this.
people that purchased the game are no longer interested in it. The all-time peak 7 months ago was 1.3, almost 1.4 million players in-game at once, and the 24-hour peak is 43,000, but in-game right now is 18,184. That is absolutely abysmal for them. The numbers that they had at launch have not been touched since then. The best they had was in April with 500,000 players, but even that is still pretty freaking low compared to the 1.4 million all-time peak. Nobody is coming back to play this game, and part of that is on Capcom because they haven't been updating the game as consistently as possible. They haven't been doing big content dumps. They've just kind of set it and forget it, which is not going to tear people away from new other amazing games. I don't know if you've
Again, I think they're just not rushing this. Like, Capcom has a very methodical plan. This is why I did the prediction that I did, that Capcom's gonna crash and burn at some point, and it's gonna be interesting how it happens. And Monster Hunter Wilds technically could be the start of it, but that doesn't mean that Capcom's currently panicking. At least I don't think so. I think they are like, okay, we did this, we did the hot fix, and people called us Bethesda tier. Hurts the soul. And then they were like, okay, now we need to like actually do things in a meaningful way. Because redemption stories happen. No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk 2077, there are examples of redemptions just happening. So there's no reason Monster Hunter could not pull it off, especially within a company that actually has slightly better work ethics than most.
never played Escape from Dunkov, if you've never played Silksong, if you've never played Expedition 33, even Battlefield 6.
I haven't played Escape from Dunkov. I'm not sure what that. I know it's selling real good, but I haven't paid attention. I don't know.
Like, you're not going to take people away from those games to go back to a title like Monster Hunter Wilds that they've either already done the story for or they've already hit their own personal goals in game. And it's just sad to see this entire situation happening. Now, as you can see, for their best-selling games, Q2 FY 2025, Resident Evil Village, 643K, Resident Evil 4, 554K, Street Fighter 6, 547K, DMC 5, 352K, Monster Hunter Rise, 254K, Monster Hunter Wilds, 160K, which has led to a lot of people roasting them, pointing and laughing at them, just saying, you guys get what you deserve. Rise is holding up pretty well while Wilds has stunted sadly. Maybe people are waiting for more optimization patches and the inevitable large expansion. Hopefully that picks things back up again. I'm surprised that Rise outsold Wilds. Man, Wilds sales fell off of a freaking cliff. Wilds was truly a
True. But that's gonna happen to most games. Now, admittedly, a good game is gonna have sales that permeate and continue. Again, Baldur's Gate 3 is still one of the best examples of this. That thing is still, people are still playing it because it's good. In any case, that was Mommy Ver, 10 out of 10. Bye!